We can come to the rink and try and win championships, and that's what it's all about. When you look from the outside and you watch this team, I know we're going to have a real good, solid hockey team this year.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, joined right here by my co-host, Eric Wilson. Coming off a huge win over the Flames last night, the New York Rangers played great. Shout out to Alexis Lafreniere. I take back everything that I've ever said. We should not trade him. We should keep the kid line intact forever because it's going to be one of the most dominant lines in the NHL for years to come. So I apologize for my slander in the past, but Alexis Lafreniere, he needs to stay. He's the GOAT right now. We all love him. And so I take back what I said. But today we are going to be talking trade rumors, not Alexis Lafreniere trade rumors, but other players trade rumors. And this will be really interesting, Eric. Now, this is something that we saw on Instagram from New York Rangers discussions, came from an article via Bleacher Report, and they listed a bunch of mock trades. So over the next few days, we're going to be going over all of those right here on the channel as we gear up towards that trade deadline. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, and leave a like if you enjoy content just like this, because we have plenty more like it coming right here on Fireside Rangers. But Eric, why don't you introduce today's potential mock trade for the New York Rangers?
All right. Well, player we're talking about today is Vladimir Tarasenko, one of the biggest names in the NHL, one of the more popular players. And I like this one because every single year I feel like we hear rumors about how he's going to get traded to the Islanders, and it never happens. So wouldn't it be like the greatest slap in the face if the Rangers just went out and got him? So the mock trade that we see going on here would be the Rangers receive Tarasenko while the Blues retain 50% of that salary, which, before we get into what the Rangers will give up, that salary is 7.5 AAV, which ends after this year. So he would be a little bit of a rental, and we'd just be taking on about half that cap, which I can't do quick math in my head. It's probably like 3 point something right there, 4 point something. I don't really know.
3.25, yes.
Yep.
No, you know what? That's not right at all. It's 3.75. Sorry.
Yes, we're not math majors.
No.
But then the Blues would receive in return Vitaly Kravtsov and a conditional 2024 second round pick, which the condition would be it would become a 2023 first round pick if the Rangers make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, which I think we all know at this point of the season is going to be hard, but definitely possible. So that's the mock trade that we've been given right there.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at that mock trade, just giving up Vitaly Kravtsov, conditional 2024 second round pick, would become the 2023 first rounder if the Rangers made the Cup Finals. But when you look at that trade, I kind of like the terms of agreement there, especially with the Rangers only taking on half of Tarasenko's contract. And especially considering that the player that's being given up here is only Vitaly Kravtsov, right, Eric? Because we've been quite critical of Kravtsov, so most Rangers fans. And I think that the only downside to trading away Vitaly Kravtsov is it might hurt Artemi Panarin's feelings, since that's kind of his best friend. But other than that, I don't think there's much being lost here by trading away Vitaly Kravtsov. So, Eric, I guess when you look at that, when you look at getting rid of Vitaly Kravtsov for the talent that's coming in, how big of a difference is that? And does the extra money and the extra draft picks make up all of that difference? And then also, before you answer that question, I realize I forgot to ask you, how was your day?
Oh, it's going good so far. I guess I'm just going to slander Burger King real quick. I don't like Burger King. I tried the new Italian chicken sandwich, and I'm pretty sure it killed me. So
Rest in peace, my man.
But, back onto the business talk over here. When you look at the trade, I think it's definitely worth it because Kravtsov is one of those players that has shown a lot of potential. Like, it looks like he's about to break through and start scoring points. But if we're in like a win now phase like we are, we can't exactly wait for that. And Tarasenko is one of those players that has won a Stanley Cup, has a lot of playoff experience, and has the ability to put in points. So far this season, he's only played in 38 games, but he has 29 points. And that's on a St. Louis Blues team that are 25th in the league. So they're definitely not that good. They're going to be sellers at the deadline as they're trying to rebuild right now. And then when it comes to the draft pick, it's kind of just one of those things that you got to give up. I think it's a win-win for both teams. The Rangers don't exactly need that right now with the current roster that they have, and the Blues are in the middle of a rebuild. So we get a really good player that'll booster our top six and really just help us make a really good playoff push. And the Blues can get what they need to continue their rebuild. So will it be a little sad to see Kravtsov go? Yeah. But like you said, at the same time, the worst thing that would happen really is just Panarin might get upset. But we're bringing in another Russian. So how upset can he be? He's still got like one of his comrades.
Right. So I think that he could probably figure it out and be just A-okay, especially considering the increase in talent that the Rangers would be acquiring here with Vladimir Tarasenko. Right winger, age 31 years old. Let's go over some of his stats this season so far. 38 games played, 10 goals, 19 assists, 29 total points throughout his career. He's played in 644 games, 262 goals, 291 assists, 553 points. Killer stats right there. And as you mentioned, Eric, he signed an 8-year, $60 million contract worth 7.5 average annual value, but it does expire after the season. So there's the other catch of this trade, right? Is it a trade worth making considering that it would most likely just be a rental because the Rangers going into this offseason have a lot of young guys to pay, big extensions to hand out. Can they really afford to also extend Tarasenko considering how much money he's usually worth when you're not paying half of his salary after a trade? Now, that's a big question for me, and I don't know. I don't think that the Rangers would be able to extend Tarasenko, so it very likely would end up being just a half of year rental. So, Eric, is that something that you're interested in for the New York Rangers? Do you think that they're in a position right now where they should be making a rental trade, or would you prefer that they hold on to their assets or maybe find someone who they could actually fit in on the long term rather than going for the rental trade to try and boost their stats this season?
Yeah, I mean, there's positives and negatives, because the roster that we have right now is good, but I don't think it's enough to make it to the finals and win those finals. Like, we need, as we've been saying for like the past like weeks now, we need another guy in that top six who's going to really help boost that scoring and just like add on to that depth that we have going on. But then again, like we're going to lose them, like we saw last season with Kopp, Vetrano. We took the risk, we traded for these players, and then at the end of the season, they walked, and we kind of just had little to show for it other than saying, oh, we were 2 games away from the Cup finals, So I don't really know. If we win the Stanley Cup, it's 100% worth it. But it's definitely going to be tough to re-sign him. I'm pretty sure it's like guaranteed he would be a rental because, we got guys like Lafreniere, Miller, Hedel, all coming up as free agents that we need to re-sign first. So it's like, yes, in this mock trade that we have going on here, it really just looks like we're giving up a pick and Krasov. But if you're going to try to re-sign him, you can also pretty much just throw Lafreniere's name into like players that we're losing for this trade because we're not going to be able to sign him. So it's up to you if you think it's worth the risk or not.
No, I mean, I think I agree with you because this would end up being a rental for the reasons that you just mentioned. I think that the Rangers would prioritize to extend their in-house talent rather than extending Tarasenko, considering his age. He is 31 years old. You'd rather extend the young guys, extend those kids like Lafreniere, who you just mentioned, than a 31-year-old aging veteran. But the next thing that I want to discuss here, Eric, is considering he's a right winger, he's 31 years old, where does he fit in, right? Because we know that the kids are playing great and you don't want to take any ice time away from them. However, Vitaly Kravtsov would be traded away in this. Obviously, Tarasenko would suck up some of his playing time, but probably needs even more than just what Vitaly Kravtsov gets. So where does he fit in, Eric, in your opinion, on the lines, first line, second line, third line? Of course, he's probably in the top 6, but how much ice time does he deserve? And what impact do you think he could really make in the New York Rangers lineup?
So right now I'm looking at the current lines that we're rocking with at practice today, and I can see him fitting in right wing, first or second line because right now first line is Panarin, Zibanejad, and VC. VC can definitely move down to the third or fourth line right there, and I don't exactly see that affecting anything. And then the second line is Kreider, Trocheck, sorry, and Goudreau. So I can also see Goudreau moving down to the bottom 6 and having Tarasenko just slide in right there. Because then obviously the third line's the kid line. That's not going to change unless Capo Caco or Filipino decide to alternate up into the second. So yeah, I think a line of Panarin, Zibanejad, Tarasenko, that sounds like an incredible first line. The 2 Russian sharpshooters with Mika Zibanejad, that'd be pretty incredible to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get much better than that, right? That dynamic duo between Panarin and Tarasenko would sure be fun to watch. But Eric, again, one of the other things in this mock trade, the condition here is that the conditional 2024 second round pick would become a 2023 first rounder if the Rangers did make the Cup Finals. So let's discuss that right there. Would this trade propel the Rangers to making the Stanley Cup Finals? Or do you think that it would most likely be a trade that adds some wins, maybe a couple playoff wins, but doesn't take them all the way? So essentially what I'm asking is this the difference maker? Is this the one trade that the New York Rangers need to make in order to get to the Stanley Cup Finals? Or is this just another trade that will maybe take them an extra few games in the postseason?
I mean, I definitely think it has the potential to do it. You know, as I mentioned earlier, we're really just like that one top 6 piece away from having that Stanley Cup winning roster, in my opinion. So I think, yeah, it can take us that far. But then you also got to consider the other teams in the Eastern Conference, you know, like Carolina and Boston. We're not going to make it to the finals without playing at least one of them. And they're both having like historically good seasons. So we might be in like a tough place where unless we pull off a miracle, we might be a little screwed anyway. But, you know, you got to boost the lineup a little bit and just try anyways. So I think if there was ever going to be a chance, at least a trade, possibly this one, would need to happen. It'd still be tough though, but I think it's possible with a trade, not without.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we're going to go over a few more trades throughout this week and really take a look at the moves that the Rangers could make ahead of this deadline. But when we're looking at where this team is right now and where it's going to be soon enough, trying to get into the postseason and make it hopefully pretty far and deep into the postseason, I definitely think that the Rangers need to make some sort of move here to propel them to take that next step and push their way into the Stanley Cup Finals. So I'm really excited to see if they do make a move, what move they do make. And of course, I'm excited to discuss all of these potential moves and trades, speculating on them and the rumors right here on Fireside Rangers. So again, if you are not subscribed, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any of these episodes. And make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this content. Again, plenty more on the way. Comment your thoughts on this potential trade from Bleacher Report and New York Rangers discussion on Twitter down below in the comment section. And we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one. And let's go Rangers.
Go Rangers.
He shoots. Rangers!